Philip Pegler reads an extract from his new book, Quiet Courage of the Inner Light.
When you no longer shrink back from fear, when you're no longer afraid of being afraid and dislike yourself for it, then and only then anything is possible. This is because it is fear which is the chief impediment to deep understanding. But when that primary hindrance begins to shift and dissolve, a previously unknown and most wonderful sense of freedom can come to us. That freedom is nothing new. It is our birthright, but it is a liberty that does need to be claimed by clear recognition. Otherwise, it will have no power to act in our experience. It takes a special kind of courage to face fear. It is by no means easy, and it is wrong to pretend otherwise. But when we dare to approach fear and then risk everything to encircle it with our warm regard, just as a loving mother might embrace a young child, something surprising can happen. The sharp sting of fear may be disarmed then by the warmth of our concern. Our kindness is the antidote to fear's venom, while its sting is made safe by our insight, which even allows us to feel some compassion for that unpleasant darkness of fear which has held us in thrall for so long. It is a revelation to discover as we dare to probe further and deeper. But the raw fear we so often experience is crying out for love and reassurance. This, above all else. Similarly, even the darkest sought form of fear is susceptible to the radiant outreach of this surprising sense of deep caring. That capacity to care for oneself and others comes to us as a savior whenever each new moment of anxiety surges up to cause distress. Never again need we feel totally abandoned to terror. That is what we find out to such great relief in these dire moments. Fear seldom disappears once and for all overnight, but its days of holding us hostage are numbered. The acute anxiety that fear engenders signifies an instinctive dread, not only of the unknown, but also of nothingness itself, and, ultimately, annihilation. It arises from a deeply rooted sense of separation from the wholeness of life, and strangely enough, we have become painfully accustomed to this sense of separation because we know of no better. It is, in fact, the very basis of a false and fragile sense of identity, the veracity of which most of us have never seen fit to challenge, because hardly anybody else does. We have all tended to take for granted the inexorable fact that we are destined to live and die as separate individuals. Death presides over everything, casting a dark shadow which one does one's level best to ignore. This is the normal version of what living entails, and yet there is no good reason why anyone should remain bound to this outlook forever. An alternative view, pointing to freedom of mind and soul, is always waiting there in the background, requiring just a slight shift of perspective to become visible.